Welcome to another Indie Dev Showcase, highlighting the many indie games we play here on the channel. If you'd like to submit a game for a future video, please reach out. But otherwise, let's begin. We are beginning things off with Steamworld Build. This is yet another in the spin-offs of the Steamworld Dig and just the Steamworld universe. In this one, we are going into an Anno Lake. With our mission is to dig deep within the earth of our robotic world to find mysterious spaceship parts that could very well lead to us escaping this planet or an unknown disaster, or something in between. Our kind of city building here is very much akin to that of an Anno style. You'll build various structures that relate to the different classes of robots. Each class of robots will require different goods, resources, some kind of robotic food source, and more. Get your people happy and they'll give you taxes, and your money will then be able to use to build more, get more stuff, get higher people, and rinse and repeat. The unique factor of Steamworld Build is the kind of almost like Dungeon Keeper-esque underground mode. As you dig deeper into the surface, you'll find these kinds of little dungeons that you can set up mining operations that can reward you with more resources and materials that you can use to construct things on the surface. The kind of twist of Steamworld Build is that each kind of group of citizens on the surface will affect how many people or the different service people you can put down into the ground. You'll need this as different people will have different jobs, such as being able to dig more of the earth out, protect you from ravenous bugs and other things, or set up defenses, traps, and so on. It's a very nifty take, and it does add a different dimension to kind of this kind of Anno city building style. Now, with that said, the main issue that I have with Steamworld Build is that it is really much a game of two distinct systems. You have the, again, Anno city management style on the top, and then the Dungeon Keeper hollowing out the earth style underground. And if you're not into both modes, you're not going to really enjoy Steamworld Build, because both systems interact with each other. The additional resources and goods you pull out of the ground will provide progression more self on the surface, and the more you do on the surface will allow you to do more underground. The game features different blueprints and kind of parts you can find that you can click into buildings to improve their services. All in all, this I think is a very solid kind of Anno-like economic style game. If you enjoy both Anno and Dungeon Keeper and looking for a game that does a great job mixing them both together, and this is definitely an easy recommendation. But if you're looking for a game that's either all city building or all dungeon building, then this one may be a little too mixed up for you. We now go to at Gunhead. This is the sequel to Crypt Arc, which was an incredibly challenging top-down roguelike, where you explore different ships filled with nasty systems that are meant to ruin and wreck your run. Well, we're now going full 3D and first person for our sequel. Once again, you are going to be going into various ships, trying to harvest the resources and goods you need to make more and more progress. Using said goods, you'll be able to buy upgrades, ammunition, and unlock new things for future runs and attempts. Every ship is procedurally generated, and each frigate will have access to different AI cores. These cores will affect what defenses and other weird things it will throw at you. Some ships may have cores that will shift around. Some may have, well, a thermonuclear device that will blow things up. So each run is going to be very dynamic, so you'll need to react and move accordingly to figure out the best route through each frigate to get to the brain and destroy it in order to call the ship a win. As you can tell by our footage, playing in first person is a lot different than the top-down stylings of Crypt Arc, and that does take to the kind of my main issue with this. It is noticeably harder to keep track as to what is going on in Gunhead compared to the first game. You're not only having to deal with of course what's in front of you, but what's top, bottom, side, and all 360 degrees of pain that's going to get you. And like Crypt Ark, you are going to be very limited in terms of your healing. This is a game where you will have to prioritize and be very careful about taking any damage from any of the myriad of sources in it. And it can be very frustrating to take a hit from someone that you had no idea was even coming at you from some wild direction. And like the first game, ammunition and weapons are going to be a big factor at the start. Getting the wrong weapon for the wrong frigate or running out of ammo of your preferred weapon can easily spell doom for you. And if you didn't like kind of the difficulty of the first game, well, it's definitely as hard or even harder here. So, if you enjoyed Crypt Ark and looking for an almost like, I guess like Descent style of moving and spinning and trying to keep yourself oriented in space, then this is a very easy recommendation. If you like this concept, but prefer something a little bit more easier to parse, then definitely play Crypt Ark if you haven't checked that one out already. We now go to Step by Step. This is an endless runner meets a rage game. You are trying to, well, explore the world, except you can't stop moving. So, the gameplay here is that your character will be auto-running all around. You'll need to figure out exactly how to time your jumps and wall jumps in order to make progress, under the fact that, again, you cannot stop moving at any point. If you fall, well, guess what? You'll be replaying a lot of area. So this is one of those games that, again, what you see is entirely what you get. The premise of using an auto runner to kind of throw this kind of getting over it, pogo stuck, that level of rage game together is a very novel one. Again, very simple controls for you to master, but it's going to probably take you some time to get, well, over it. So if you're not tired of the whole kind of rage genre style gameplay, this one could be worth a play. But if you prefer your platforming where you're given complete control over how you walk, move, and jump, then this one may be a little bit too fast for you to enjoy. We now go to Limos Lair. This is an action puzzle Metroidvania. You are exploring various caves as, well, Limo. And in order to solve the mysteries, you must move, lick, and absorb enemies in order to make more and more progress. The game itself is split into various biomes. While major puzzles, once you solve them, remain kind of solved or open, you'll need to get access to different abilities and absorb enough copies of enemies in order to unlock more progress. So each area is going to be built on you using the different enemy powers in order to solve puzzles. Some areas may require you to get a specific power in order to solve a puzzle, or to kill an enemy that will unlock the way forward. It's a very novel take on kind of puzzle design. Now, I did find a little bit frustrating that a lot of the kind of major progress is going to be tied to you just repeatedly grinding, killing enemies, and absorbing enough copies of them in order to move the story along. Now, after I told the developer this, I think they may have patched that out or lessened that to some extent, but we did not go back to this one, at least in recent time, to check things out. I enjoy this one. There is definitely potential here if you like kind of a puzzle-based Metroidvania. And definitely this is going to be on my list of games I would like to go back to and give another play if we can ever find the time for it. So, like our other games, a very interesting mix of designs and genres, and the idea of playing a puzzling Metroidvania sounds interesting to you, then definitely give this one a check. We now go to Wizordum. Please know that this was played in early access and may not represent the current version of it. This is a boomer shooter, where, well, I guess I could say a boomer spellcaster. Instead of using shotguns, pistols, rocket launchers, and more, you'll be using the power of magic to rip and tear your way across the magical kingdom. When goblins, monsters, and more are invading, it is up to you to use the power of magic to beat them back and figure out what is causing them to all go crazy. So our gameplay here again is just pure old boomer shooter goodness. Very similar, I guess, in some vein to that of like Hexen or Heretic, according to the store page. Each one of your spells is basically a gun analog of some respect. You have rapid fire, you have freeze powers, and more. I really do like the look of the game. It kind of gives off like a Wolfenstein, like 3D vibe to some of the rooms and aesthetics. Each level is going to be loaded with secrets, items, and of course, lots of enemies to fight. Now, as I said at the start, we played this during kind of like the first week of early access, and since we checked this one out, there have been additions including another character to play as, more episodes, and more. This is a very solid one, and definitely one worth checking out if you're looking for a more magical take on boomer shooting. And definitely one that I want to go back to when the game is out of early access. And for the last game of our showcase this week, we go to Ratopia. The simplest way to describe this one would be, what if we combine Oxygen Not Included with the Secret of Nim? When the Rat Kingdom is embroiled in a coup, the kind of queen or reigning monarch flees and is trying to set up a new civilization and hopefully rebuild back up and keep her citizens alive. So if you've played Oxygen Not Included or any kind of like colony sim or kind of like 2D style game along those lines, then this should be very familiar to you. You will construct various buildings and services, you'll get more workers as the day goes on, and you'll need to keep everyone happy, fed, and keep growing your colony up, side, and down into the surface. You'll unlock different researches that will allow you to get access to better equipment, as well as more jobs that you can assign characters to help further your kingdom. I do like the look of this one. It has a very interesting vibe with our adorable rats trying to make a living. Now, we played this during the first week or so of its early access, and since then, the game has received many different updates, adding in more quests, items, things to research, etc, etc. So there is definitely a lot of legs here. Now, obviously, this game doesn't go as far into the science simulation of Oxygen Not Included, and that can certainly be to its benefit. If you found the likes of Oxygen to be a little bit too demanding or too advanced to enjoy the colony sim style, then this is definitely an easy recommendation. I am curious to see where this game is going to go when it is eventually released. This has been a very fantastic showcase. We have 6 very interesting and original games that are certainly worth your time if you're looking for something different. Let me tailor your game for a future stream and showcase. Please reach out, and let me know what you think about these games down below, and be sure to check out all the links if you want to look up these games as well. Thanks for watching, and see everyone for our next video. Thanks for watching, and a special thank you to our Patreon supporters. If you enjoyed the video, do the YouTubing stuff, be sure to visit our Discord and Patreon, and you're interested in more in my thoughts on design, check out my game design books.